Hello everybody, Crab here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Last time, we built these assemblers and a few constructors. We did this to start making our tier 2 items like Quickwire and aluminum sheets, and fun stuff like screws and iron plates. Now, the reason we're making this stuff is so we can put it all into these two things, manufacturers and blenders, to make ourselves radio control units, fuse monitor frames, which for some reason I don't have unlocked, but I'll unlock that later, and other stuff in that tier 4 production. So then we can complete phase 4 and move on to phase 5. Now, I have run into a small issue, and that is the look of this place. Oh god, Christmas started, I forgot. When building this factory, I'm trying to make things look interesting, which is why I made massive refinery towers and this cool open assembler line. However, to me, this is kind of boring. And what I mean by that is this looks interesting, but it is not this. This is what I'm trying to make. This condensed mess of machines with pathways going in between them and a bunch of different height variants and all that fun stuff. This is not that. This does not look like that, and I'm kind of disappointed by that fact. So we're gonna make a gentleman's agreement. I'm going to do this, which is extremely boring to watch, and complete the other tier 2 stuff we have to make, like reinforced iron plates and encased industrial beams and circuit boards and whatnot. I'm gonna make those assemblers and those constructors, and I'm gonna try and make this place look, well, more like this area. And then once I'm done doing that, we'll actually do the fun stuff, which is the manufacturers and blenders. All right, I figure it's time for an update. So, you know how I said I need to get a bunch of refineries in for those copper sheets? I have started to plan it out, and by that I mean I've done it. We have 28 refineries now added in new places, which kind of fill out this space a bit more, and I'm actually planning out pathways, so we have pathways, because on that side over there, you might notice no pathways, and it kind of doesn't break up the machinery as much as the ones over here do. So I'm making sure I added them in. The rest of this space will be filled with assemblers. That's why I'm actually adding so many pathways, because assemblers will fit into a 2.5 gap relatively well. And so I can kind of have just lines with the breakup, and then we have belts running everywhere, and it'll look really nice. This should be enough room for half of our assemblers. The other half are going to go on this end right here. What I'm trying to do is connect these two sides up, like fully, so we kind of have a nice, I don't know how much space is this, I'd say like 1/3 of this factory around our main central storage hub will be like filled in. Up here, I am intentionally leaving this space blank, and I'll show you why. If I just grab some radio control units real quick and a few other things, we can unlock this, which is aeronautical engineering, and it's drones. I mentioned this way back when I was originally building this hub, but these corners are actually staying open to be used as drone spaces. So I know I can't actually build them yet, but you can kind of imagine we'll have like a line of 3 drones sitting here, and drones will be going up and down, and they will be bringing in resources from around the area that are then being put into our storage hub. I'm going to continue building now so we can have our assemblers in, so then we can do belt work. I'm also trying to think about where I want to put manufacturers and blenders. We don't need too many of each. We only need, I think, 16 total, like of both of these size buildings. So we don't need that much space, but they are pretty big chonkers, so I need to think about where I want to put them. Okay, time for update 2. As you can see, quite a few things have been filled out with lines of assemblers. If you were wondering what these manufacturers are, I looked at my sheet and I said, I need 12 manufacturers randomly. Why? Oh yes, high-speed connectors. I'm not gonna like fancify the 12 manufacturers of high-speed connectors. I'm gonna fill in this space and make it look a little prettier. So that's what I did. All of our assemblers in, every single assembler we need. These 28 right here are for heat sinks. That's it. And then all the other lines are multiples. So I believe these 4 are something, and these 3 are something, and same on the other end. And we have 6 down here for like circuit boards and encased industrial beams and whatnots over in that corner. But with that, this area is full of all of the machines I need to make, except for 5 refineries for, I believe, quartz crystals. And then of course our big manufacturers and blenders that are making our end items. But this space is filled out wonderfully, and it really has connected the 2 areas up rather nicely. Once we get belts in and things moving, it'll look a whole lot better and way less plain, but that looks lovely. I have decided that this space is going to be holding manufacturers. I know I said I could put drones here. The issue being, I have a very interesting idea for what I want to do with my drones, and I thought of it about 20 minutes ago, and so I don't actually need these flat spaces. So I want to do something interesting with our manufacturers, which is probably going to be the thumbnail for this video, so you probably already know, but I don't yet. I'm discovering this as I go. Anyway, so this flat space is going to be filled up. But before we do that, we must belt all of this, just everything here. And along with doing the belts and pipe work, I'm gonna be finally transferring over the water pipes that I brought in from the refinery video and using them to supply all the water for that space and supply all the water for this space instead of having it come from this lake right here. So we're gonna clean up this area and then dirty it again with pipes. Also, the way I'm planning on bringing the pipes over is by grabbing some frame foundations going up and then over and across this area, kind of like I did over here. I want to make something similar to this again, where it's like a very long belt that's hanging over everything, except this one's going to be, I think 3 times as long, but I think it should cut off this space and kind of add something else in the air that'll separate the refineries and make them look a little less towering over everything else by having this long line of belts that kind of just spews through the middle right there. Like, that's a relatively good height. It's like a halfway point between everything on the ground and then the very top of the refinery towers. But that is for later. Before we put our belt and pipe work in, I'm going to fully finish off all these paths because right now they aren't exactly connected very well. And I'm going to actually put all the manufacturers in. I don't have any of the belt stuff on the ends. The reason for that is I was just trying to make sure I could fit all of them in the places I wanted to fit them. So now I have to make lovely blueprints that I can put down. All right, I lied. I don't want to do belt work right now. I actually want to put in the manufacturers and blenders, the fun stuff we're going to make. I did all this. We know where everything's going to go. That's okay. I can do the belt work later. Instead, we're going to mess with these. I have a funky idea. You know how we have this going up here and pipes over? Well, what if I made one manufacturer there and then we went like this, right? We went up, up, and then we went over, and then we put another manufacturer like above it. Wouldn't this look super funky and weird? Now, our issue being these refiners right here, but I can literally flip them around so these stacks are not in the way of our manufacturer outputs. Then I can hang them over a little bit more. So that is a problem we can solve. The other problem being this oil pipeline, which I can just put on the other side behind the manufacturers. And our final issue being I want manufacturers to sit on this side too. And having those connections be that short right there would be kind of problematic. Except for the fact we can make these about as short as I want to, because I can have the inputs come from right here. So then we just have to make, well, we have to squeeze it a little bit this way. But we just kind of have to move this belt and these machines right here over a little bit. And they should work double-sided, and they might even work double-stacked. Like that might work. It would be goofy, but it might work. Now, we do have to keep in mind that this will look relatively boring in the middle. But don't worry about that, because I need to make 4 assemblers. Yes, just 4 assemblers for 2 final parts. Those being electromagnetic control rods, which I don't have unlocked yet, and this alternate recipe to supercomputers, which I do have unlocked yet. So imagine we have our manufacturers and blenders, and then in the middle, we have nice, lovely assemblers sitting like this. And it would be like the final blueprint. And we can probably fit it all in this space right here. Now, we do have to design this blueprint, which is going to be hell, because it's going to be so annoying to make, but that's okay. We can try. And of course, as I did with the assemblers, I figure I should show you my process, so then you can copy it. The very first thing I did was a little bit of math. We need 16 manufacturer/blenders to fit into this blueprint. I need to make sure that the space would fit in this area, because if it didn't fit here, I'd have to do something else. And I didn't mean in this single blueprint, I meant in these blueprints, but I think you get the gist of it. Now, we're gonna put this like right there. That should be good. That should leave enough space for us to do belt work on this side. Perfect. And then we're gonna grab ourselves our wireframe, and we're gonna finalize where our second manufacturer is going to go. Now, we want a good overhang. I think a full foundation and a half would be interesting, because if we had it overhanging to like here, and then we could put a pathway on the side. Or wait, no, we have this long pathway right here to view it. So yeah, we can just have it like right to here. So I think a full foundation over, and then we will have our half foundation for the output. So if we just bring this in to about there, no, a little bit more. And then we grab inverted ramp. We put this on the end. Come on. And then we can grab a merger and that will fit there. We are going to be sticking these manufacturers directly next to each other. So I want them to actually look a bit more reinforced. Then I have an interesting idea to make this look a little bit more reinforced. If we grab a diagonal and we go out so we get a full view, that might actually look pretty nice. If we can do like another one. Ooh, wait, can we add a wall in the center there? I know this like is kind of redundant to do right now. It's probably gonna be changed, but I wanna see what it'll look like if we filled in this space. That looks pretty cool. I actually quite like this strip on the side. Now, here's where the important part comes in. Let's name this menu test. That should be good. And we'll just go over here. Since we have our basic shape, we can get rid of all these. And we'll grab menu test, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna see what it looks like when they're next to each other. So we'll bring this all the way over on the end. These can only be so close. Now, if we put them as close as we can to each other, we have to remember we're gonna have the support on this side too. This really won't be seen except from the inside, which I feel like is fine. This gap, however, I feel like is just big enough to be stupid. Oh, I've also messed up the placement of it. The manufacturer, as you can see, is slightly off. Now, if we redo this, but make this space a little bigger, about 3 or 4 clicks to the side, if we look at them next to each other now, this gap we can actually use to like bring belts in, and that spacing might look significantly better. The spacing itself will be decided because that's kind of our end. We can only go as far as the hub, but generally speaking, these look good next to each other. So now we're gonna do the other support on the other side. Okay, so we have our little details. I don't know if I want this middle beam here. The main reason I don't know about it is from the bottom, it looks kind of stupid. Ooh, wait, idea. I thought of something. We can make it look less stupid by getting a half foundation. Or I guess this is a 1 meter foundation, but whatever. And we make it metal. Boom, okay. And now it looks like it's supporting it. And then we can add one on this side too. There we go. Okay, now it makes complete sense to have it there. Wonderful. So now it's time for the belt work. The other thing we have to think about is the fact we're going to be having a manufacturer sit up here. So we have to remember that the manufacturer is going to sit in the middle. It's going to sit about there-ish. Like about there. These blueprints are going to intersect a little bit, but we can't put anything there. Something that might become a problem is the fact that I only have so much space, like vertically. Now, if you do a splitter normally, you can see that there's this little gap with how I've made it at least. And to get rid of this gap, what we're going to do is go from the splitter down. What this does is decrease the amount of space the conveyor belt takes up. So if we go from the splitter down, it is actually less space than if we go from the manufacturer up. So then we can squeeze these a little tighter to each other. I made a short conveyor lift. Yes. Oh my God, it looks so goofy. Look at it. Oh my God, that's lovely. This should be, wait, okay. This is almost going to be our finished blueprint. Wires are connected up, belts are connected up. This should be good. Okay, so we'll actually fully save it. We'll just call it manufacturer stacked. And now we get to place it in. So the very first thing we're going to do is move this pipe and these things over so they aren't in our way. And now our little space has been cleaned up so we can put these in. Look at them, they're gonna be beautiful. Well, they're gonna be big and annoying, but beautiful. My big, beautiful, annoying things. Can I actually fit this? Hold on. I made these to be as tight as possible. They will fit with, oh my God, they barely fit. Oh, I'm so good at this. All right, we have 3 clicks to the left of spacing. And they look, well, they probably look absolutely wonderful if this annoying garbage wasn't in the way. Look at them. Look at them. Oh my God, they look fantastic. They're so wonderful. Yes, these are floating. I'll deal with it later, probably, maybe. Okay, this has been saved. We just kind of shoved a blender on top. Blenders are, I think, a full tile shorter than manufacturers, so it was very easy to do. We're making cooling systems and fuse modular frames in here, and that is it. So everything's relatively simple. And now with that done, what we get to do is clear and get rid of this. Down. And then delete all of these so I can replace them better. And boom! They're all in, or about to be very soon. Oh my God. Wait, I realize I have another angle I can just look at it. Oh, it looks fantastic. And then we have 4 assemblers we have to put somewhere, which are our supercomputers and control rods, which I don't have unlocked. And then we have 5 blenders we have to put somewhere around here. Or not 5 blenders, 5 refineries, 4 quartz crystals, which I think I'm just gonna shove on that end over there. Okay, now it's time for belt work. Ah! This is gonna be so tedious, but oh my god, is it gonna be worth it? Look at this place. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. I love it so much. Okay, so we have finished off the pathways. I just dealt with those, and I was about to start belting everything when I remembered I have a 3rd train station I have not activated yet. This 3rd train station just so happens to be bringing all of our nitrogen over and our rubber that's being made at our turbo fuel power plant, which is yonder over here. So we need to set up 1 train and 2 train station to actually get all the things from over there to over here, because if we head over to our turbo fuel power plant, we'll conveniently notice a lack of train station. See, there's no train station. This track leads to literally nowhere. So we need to put one in. Now, our nitrogen node is way up there, which is probably where we're going to be putting this train station. That's the whole reason we have a track going over this beautiful place. Also, I haven't been over here in like 2 months or whatever. This place is lovely. I love it so much. Our track goes across. We need to set up a train station right there-ish. And we also need to bring rubber from those refineries right there over and around. I'm not going to do anything too fancy with the train station over here. This back still isn't finished. I will probably never finish it, let's be honest. I'm gonna pull a green in. However, the train station should be relatively simple and easy to make. We'll bring it up to the same level as this, and then we'll grab our blueprint and make it real quick, and then belt over our lovely rubber. Where is my blueprint? There's my blueprint. And now our little station outpost is done. These pipes over here, I don't know how to feel about them. They're a mess, but as are all pipes when it comes from these geothermal whatever the hells. Wait, no, not geothermal. What are they called? Resource well pressurizer. The resource wells. There we go. Anyways, we need to set off our first train. We're going to edit timetable, and we're just going to look up nitrogen, and we'll go pick up and drop off. Save changes. I named my boy Nitro and Rubber. Self-driving on, and now it should go and work. Maybe. We hope. All of these have things in them. This is full of nitrogen. This is full of rubber. So everything should work. And there is train number 2 going. That's nitrogen R2. So we have our first nitrogen one and our second nitrogen train all bringing stuff to this train station right here. So then we can take that nitrogen and the rubber and belt it yonder to all this stuff. Speaking of said this stuff, I think it's time we start with some belt work, because I have to belt this entire place. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna try and do these check-ins every time something interesting happens. I've started to belt up this area right here, and I need to bring steel pipes over. So I came up with an idea. You know how I want to have that water tower that goes up and over and down? I wonder if I can do the same thing in the middle right here, having like pipes or having belts go through here and then putting them inside of these wire frame pillars. I think they'll just look pretty cool. And we can have like, I think I want to max it to 4 belts, but then this is like high enough to where it'll go over the miner and it'll leave this space still open, but we'll have something in the middle here that's kind of interesting. And it gets me away to bring resources from over there to this side, because right now I don't have like much room. I have enough room for a few belts down here and no room over here. So I'm going to use this middle area, and it should become pretty interesting. Okay, I've added another belt in the middle, and basically everything over here. Quite a lot has changed. I'm not going to run through all of it. All you have to know, our belts are everywhere, and everything is being hooked up. We've completed almost all of this, so we have every assembler on this side, and all of these ones in the middle, and those ones right there. So now I have to do all these assemblers right here, and then all of our high-speed connector manufacturers. And then once we have that done, we put our quartz crystal in, which I still need to put refineries. I think I'm just going to put them at the end over there. And then our 4 assemblers, which are going to go over there. And then we hook everything up to the manufacturers and blenders in the middle, and we should be done. But yeah, this place is starting to look absolutely amazing, especially this view right here. These belts are an absolute mess. I love them so much. Now time to do this entire side of belt work, which is going to be so fun. Okay, our middle section is now done. It looks wonderful, except for this garbage right here. I just hooked up the rest of the assemblers, and I added 5 refineries for our quartz crystals, and I brought the quartz over. So, we have one more thing to do, which is manufacturers. And then from there, we will do the water pipes we have to do above, and then we'll connect everything up to these blenders, manufacturers, and assemblers that are sitting over there. Okay, now doing these manufacturer belts are going to be extremely interesting. The reason being, we need 2,510 Quickwire, and then 540 cable and 45 circuit boards. So these two can be on the same belt. Not the same belt. These two can have their own belt that circle this place going to each manufacturer, whereas the Quickwire, I have to individually send belts to each section, which is going to be so annoying. Okay, the Quickwire was single-handedly the most annoying thing I've had to do. Let me give you a quick explanation of what's gone on. I have 4 belts, full 780 belts. Here's what I had to do. Since they're 780 belts, they can be divided into 3 manufacturers, but I kind of have everything set up in 2s. So, we have these 2, which is a full belt, those 2, which is a full belt, and then the overflow from both of those goes into this one, and then the overflow from both of those goes into this main belt going right here. And then I have that one over there, which is our 3rd main belt. And then I have these 3 manufacturers, which is our 4th main belt. So we have overflow and overflow, and then the overflow from these 3, because there's like 60 left, all going to these 2. There is 0 precise math in this entire thing. All I've done is say overflow and pray to God. So we're gonna hope and dream that this works. Because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be kind of sad. I don't want to deal with the Quickwire. Like, look, it's everywhere. This clump, it's everywhere. It's taken over. But with the Quickwire done, we have now belted everything over here. Everything. And then again, we still have to belt the manufacturers, blenders, and the assemblers for the last parts. And it hopefully shouldn't be too bad, because it's mostly the manufacturers and stuff out of these assemblers right here. I kind of have it centralized. So we kind of go from here over to here. It shouldn't be too bad. What we're gonna do now, though, is our pipes. We need to get all the water in so everything can finally turn on, because right now half my machines aren't on for the simple fact I don't have any copper sheets being made, because I have no water going to them. So we have to connect up the water, and we have to connect up the limestone to those concrete constructors right there. This is said limestone. I just haven't connected up yet because this is a temporary belt. So once that's connected up, and once our water's connected up, then we can finally connect up our last set of machines right here. For the water, I figure I might as well go over it with you. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab our frame foundation, and I think we'll go right about here. I want it to go like in the middle of the blenders. So actually what'll be easiest is if I bring it from this side over. The plan for the water is to kind of have a massive drip system. So we're gonna have all the water up here, and then where it needs to go, it's gonna go through the sky way up top over. So if we have pipes going right to here, then we need to bring it to the copper sheets and quartz crystals over there. We're gonna have a main line running straight ahead that way, and it'll branch off, and it'll branch off, and then it'll end over there. And same with the water that we have to take to the main area. It's gonna go all the way over, it's gonna go down and connect to that pipe. So that's kind of what I'm going for. We'll see how it looks. I'm hoping it looks good. We're gonna kind of find out. This is the height I want it to be. I want the pipes to be sitting at the middle here. So what we're gonna do is actually build foundations below it, so we can put the pipes on, and then we'll decorate it later once it's all working. So yeah, the water tower or water pipeline, whatever, should look pretty good. I think it's tall enough to where it won't obstruct the view of this place, but also will add something to it. But now it's time for our split, where we send some pipes into the blenders and off towards the factory we've already done, and then towards the factory we still need to do. Well, we've done the factory, we need to start the factory. So math time, hip hip hooray. And once they're all up, they kind of look like this massive spider web of pipes in the sky. I did encase them in the small frame pillars, at least for these single bits, because leaving them open would look kind of stupid. I'm not gonna say this doesn't look kind of stupid, however, it's like the cool kind of stupid. All right, we are very close to done. I did a few things with these assemblers right here. I kind of just popped them up real quick to make them like a little bit more displayed and to fit them in, because they weren't gonna fit unless they were raised. But all of our belt and pipe work is in for all of this stuff. All these are belted up and things are working. We have everything ready to make cooling systems, few modular frames, supercomputers, all that. Even turbo motors. I unlocked turbo motors and whatnot. I have them in, but we need to get nitrogen. And nitrogen comes from that train right there. And I have a cool idea. I was thinking, right? We already have pipes everywhere. So what if we put pipes like over this right here? And it's gonna kind of go over and then there. it'll kind of bypass all of this mess. So it is intentional, but I also think it'll look cool. Okay, everything is turned on. The nitrogen has been added, and it's a choice. I need to add supports along this because it looks kind of terrible right now. I do think it fits above this, though. I put it a little high to keep it in line with these right here. I needed them to go in between these blenders, so I had to raise it a little bit more than I wanted to, but it looks pretty good. However, everything's on. Our cooling systems are working. Over here, we got fused modular frames being made. Down here, look at this. Is that a turbo motor? That's right, baby. We're making turbo motors. Every single thing is on, everything is running, and this is the mess we made to make everything run. It looks majestic. We still have quite a bit of cleanup to do, and a few things I haven't finished. However, that is all stuff that can be done off camera and later. So with that being said, instead of killing an animal, I figure we get a nice view of this factory, and we'll end it off here. I hope you have enjoyed. Next time, we will finish Phase 4 and start on Phase 5. Goodbye.